In 2017, something strange happened on YouTube. Overnight, channels that were making a living suddenly saw their revenue collapse. Videos were getting views, people were watching, but the money was significantly reduced. This was the adpocalypse. Major brands discovered that ads were being shown next to controversial or unsafe content. And instead of fixing it gradually, YouTube hit the panic button. Advertisers pulled out. YouTube responded with strict automated policies. And just like that, creators were introduced to a new reality. Your content could be perfectly fine and still not be advertiser friendly. That little yellow dollar sign, it became a symbol of uncertainty. And here's the important part. YouTube didn't just fix the problem, it changed the entire ecosystem. Because now creators weren't making videos for viewers, they were making videos for advertisers. And that shift, it never went away. But just when things started settling down, YouTube made another move. Not one that affected money, one that affected trust. I'm talking about YouTube Rewind 2018. On paper, it was supposed to celebrate the platform. In reality, it became the most disliked YouTube video in history. And not because it was poorly edited or something, but because it felt fake. Creators that built the platform were missing. Trends that people actually cared about were ignored. Instead, it felt like a corporate version of YouTube trying to imitate its own culture and failing. And the backlash was immediate. Millions of dislikes, endless criticism, and eventually silence. Because after that, YouTube didn't just fix Rewind, they quietly ended it. No more recap of the platform. It was gone. And that tells you something important. When YouTube makes a mistake big enough, sometimes the solution isn't fixing it. It's pretending it never existed. But not every decision disappears that easily. Some stay and affect how millions of people use the platform every single day. Like the moment YouTube decided to remove the dislike button. Now, officially, the reason was simple to protect creators from harassment. But in practice, something else happened. Viewers lost a key signal. Before, you could instantly tell if a tutorial was helpful or a complete waste of time. A high dislike ratio was a warning sign. Now, you click and you don't know what you're walking into. And this did not just affect viewers, it changed behavior. Because removing dislikes didn't remove bad content, it just removed the visibility of it. And once again, YouTube reshaped how people interact with content. But if there is one system that creators fear far more than dislikes, it's monetization. YouTube leaned heavily on automation. Algorithms started deciding what was safe for advertisers, and sometimes they got it wrong. A lot. Videos would get demonetized for words, topics, or even context that made no sense. Educational content, news coverage, even harmless discussions would get flagged. And appealing it, slow, inconsistent, sometimes pointless. So creators adapted. They started censoring words, avoiding topics, changing how they speak. Not because they wanted to, but because the system forced them to. And this is where things start to connect. Adpocalypse introduced fear. Demonetization made it constant. But there was another system quietly running in the background, even more powerful. The copyright system. On paper, content ID sounds fair. If someone uses your content, you should be able to claim it, of course. But in reality, it became one of the most misused systems on the entire platform. False claims, automated matches, entire videos getting claimed over a few seconds of audio. And the worst part, the burden of proof is on the creator. Someone can claim your video and you have to fight to get it back, not the other way around. Which means the system meant to protect creators often works against them. And at this point, a pattern starts forming. Every system YouTube builds to fix a problem ends up creating a new one. But none of these systems matter if your video isn't seen in the first place. Which brings us to the algorithm. In the early days, it was simple more views is equals to more reach. But that changed. YouTube shifted to watch time, then to click through rate, then to retention curves. And each shift changed how content was made. Creators started optimizing not just for views but for attention. Longer videos, faster hooks, more engagement tactics. Because now it wasn't enough for someone to click, they had to stay. And if they didn't, the algorithm noticed this pushed content in a very specific direction more addictive, more optimized, more engineered. And just when creators started adopting to that system, YouTube introduced something new Shorts. A vertical, fast paced, infinite scroll experience. Sound familiar? It was YouTube's answer to TikTok. And it worked. Shorts took off, but it also created tension. There were two completely different ecosystems on the same platform short form and long form. Different audiences, different algorithms, different strategies, yet the same app. And for many creators, it felt like starting over. And while all of this was happening, something else quietly increased ads. More pre rolls, more mid rolls, more unskippable segments. What used to be a quick video now sometimes feels like a sequence of interruptions. And this affects everyone. Viewers get a worse experience, creators rely on those, and YouTube keeps pushing the balance. Because at the end of the day, YouTube isn't just a platform, it's a business. And every decision we talked about connects back to that, albeit different decisions, same direction. And that's the real story. Not that YouTube made mistakes, but that those mistakes follow a pattern. They fix one problem, create another, and move forward anyway. And if you think about it, that's exactly why YouTube still works. Not because it's perfect, but because there's nothing else quite like it. And if you want to see another example of how big tech decisions shape products in ways people don't expect, you should check out my video on why Apple discontinued the iPhone mini. It connects in a way you probably won't expect. And if you found this useful, drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.